Now I'm pleased to present our third reader of the evening, who holds a journalism degree from The Ohio State University and a certificate in medical writing and editing from the University of Chicago. He's taught in the journalism departments at Loyola University Chicago and Columbia College, and is a frequent speaker at South by Southwest Interactive and other conferences. In 2009, he was named to the Crain's Chicago Business 40 Under 40 list. He's also the founder and editor of Gaper's Block, the best darn Chicago-centric website in the universe, which has celebrated its 10th anniversary. And he's my co-host here tonight, so please give a big round of applause to Andrew Huff.
You know, there are a couple of spots here on the bench if anybody over in the hallway wants to swing through. There's like 2. Come on over. It's all right, I'll wait. Awesome, thank you. So one of the features that we no longer do on Gaper's Block, in part because people just don't understand when things are parody versus real on the internet, is we used to have this series called The Critic, and it featured real reviews of fake things. So I'm going to read a couple of those today. The first 2 are going to be restaurant reviews. First is Trattoria Futurista. Chef Antonio Di Pascini was an MFA candidate at l'Istituto di Arte in Milan before turning to the kitchen, and his focus on the futurist movement of the early 20th century is evident not only in the name and decor of his small restaurant on the edge of Taylor Street District, but also the food. Di Pascini's main source of inspiration for his daring dishes is founding futurist Filippo Marinetti's Futurist Cookbook. The futurists famously pronounced pasta a scourge on the Italian cuisine, and thus you'll find just one pasta dish on the menu at Futurista, a seared steak ravioli. The sizable pockets of semolina dough serve to insulate the raw meat from the boiling water, cooking just the first millimeter of steak for the ultimate in rare. This is but one of many near-raw meat offerings, and certainly one of the best. The carne cruda squarciata dal suono si sassofono. You have to be fluent in the native tongue to read the menu. Fortunately, translations are given. Is less successful. Cubes of beef sirloin marinated in various liquors and served over white pepper shaved ice is visually striking, but not very palatable, especially if one utilizes the headphones supplied with the dish, which intermittently blast John Zorn saxophone solos in one's ear. The polo fiat, a chicken breast stuffed with Moroccan couscous and crusted with Egyptian goat cheese, rests on clouds of vanilla cinnamon whipped cream, and it's a bit more mainstream. The sweetness of the cream tempers the musty flavor of the cheese nicely, and contrasts nicely with minty couscous. Di Pascini constructs delicate towers of puff pastry cylinders, lightly browned, marinated geraniums and balsamic glazed portobellos. In his interpretation of Garofano el Spiedo, the Grailetto, sorry, I don't speak Italian either, literally war in bed. It's a challenging take on Chinese sweet and sour soup. It derives its sourness from pineapple juice and its sweetness from cocoa and almond paste, with egg whites and caviar adding a creamy texture. By the way, these are all real. Just so you know, these are actually in a cookbook. Dessert is where Di Pascini really shines. The Futurista's signature dessert, the lyrically named Electricità Atmosphérique Cadite, is a whirl of champagne-flavored sponge sugar encircling a mound of deep-fried pineapple chunks. The interplay of flavors and textures is heavenly. It is followed closely in greatness by the gelato fritto, an Italian take on fried ice cream, featuring fennel gelato in a Parmesan crust. And those grilled geraniums reappear as garnish on the excellent, if alcohol-soaked, tiramisuvio, the only tiramisu flambe in the city. The service staff is bombastic and long-winded, again in futuristic tradition. Be prepared for a 10-minute oration on the philosophy of the restaurant and the genius of its chef. And that's before the daily specials list. The all-Italian wine list is quite wide, but not very deep. However, nearly everything is available by the glass. Trattoria Future is open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for dinner only. Reservations recommended. And now for something completely different. Lunch date! Exclamation point. As Valentine's Day approaches, lots of single folks are no doubt looking around and getting annoyed by all the happy couples. Fortunately, a new restaurant in the heart of Wicker Park offers an oasis from reminders of singlehood while providing a comfortable environment in which to find and wine and dine a potential mate. Lunch Date bills itself as the first singles-only restaurant and lounge. That's certainly possible, and the fact that I had to get special permission to check it out since I'm in a long-term relationship makes it clear they're serious about their mission. Owners Mary Lee Baruch and Janelle Figg are veterans of the dating service industry, and they've done everything possible to ensure that everyone you meet upon entering lunch date is single, from the patrons to the staff, including themselves and executive chef Matt Ehlers. The restaurant's website features a personal section powered by Spring Street. Set up a date through the site and receive a 20% discount on your check. Despite the name, Lunch Date is open for both lunch and dinner. Plans for a brunch are in the works. And upon a recent Friday night, the first floor bar was packed with men and women on the prowl. To the left, rows of candlelit tables, mostly two-tops naturally, awaited couples on tentative dates. Ehlers designed the menu to be first date friendly. Lots of salads, grilled fish and steaks, and pasta dishes. I particularly enjoyed the specialty pasta Viagra, a penne pasta in a truffle cream sauce with oysters, asparagus, and pine nuts. All known aphrodisiacs, but also a delicious combination. Desserts, such as the raspberry glazed cheesecake or chocolate out-of-body experience, come with only one spoon to encourage sharing. After dinner, prospective couples may head upstairs to slip into the more comfortable cafe lounge. Easy chairs and love seats litter the dimly lit room, while twin fireplaces help turn up the heat. The bartender doubles as a barista, offering up both a signature martini, the lunch datatini, effing vodka and passion fruit liqueur with a raspberry, and a signature latte, the latte date, with triple sec and a heart drawn in the foam. Baruch and Fig claim 24 relationships have sprung up from meetings at lunch dates since it opened in December. This Valentine's Day, maybe you could make it 25. Oh, there's more. So, Independence Day, the 4th of July, is coming up very shortly. And it carries our thoughts to family, food, and most importantly, fireworks. The fierce competition between villages for audience share has led to an expansion of the display period from the traditional 4th to the 3rd and even the 5th in some locales. While this has been a boon to fireworks goers, it has become a bane to some municipalities with limited resources, as they must now contend with not only the flash of the neighbor town's display, but also firework fatigue from previous nights. The Critic visited several shows over the holiday weekend and presents this review of the festivities. First, 2013, A Fireworks Odyssey. July 3rd, 9 p.m. at Shermer High School football field, Shermer, Illinois. Befitting the fiscal budget of this North Shore hamlet, Shermer's incredible tribute to the classic Kubrick film was a dazzling feat of pyrotechnics. The incorporation of live action, featuring Shermer High's state champion varsity wrestling squad as the proto-humans any Stone Age prelude, was inspired. At the throwing of a pig femur, the Schirmer City Symphony reached the crescendo of Thus Spake Zarathustra, and the towering black monolith burst open to reveal a spinning representation of the bone in sparklers. Simultaneously, a purplish and green planetary delight burst overhead, indicating the transition from Earth to space. Although a bit long at 2 hours, with inexplicable delays between movements at points, the presentation easily outdid last year's Gladiator-themed display. Especially impressive were the use of a searing red Corinthian moon Roman candle to represent HAL 9000, and the truly magnificent time warp climax. Schirmer will surely struggle to top themselves in 2014. Red, White, and Blue America, July 4th, 9:30 p.m. Ryan Park, Deerwood Heights. Apparently not yet tired of the hyper-patriotism of the past several years, the village of Deerwood Heights chose to field a display featuring red, white, and blue fireworks and nothing else. The result was what you might expect: tedious use of dragon carnations and Uncle Sam's, litanies of blue devils and rose petals, and the occasional star splangler thrown in to break up the monotony. I imagine the city council was mightily displeased when, right in the middle of the finale, a spectacular green giant soared above the rest of the works. It seemed to hang for minutes before finally fading, and remained the highlight of an otherwise lackluster presentation. Amateur display, July 4th, 11:45 p.m. Field near Route 42 in Adams, DuPage County. On the drive back from the disappointing Deerwood Heights show, I encountered an unexpected sight. A glorious 3 deluxe fountain of youth exploding directly over the road. This rare specimen was followed by a bright orange winged fury, and then one of those cool ones with the sparks that shoot off in all directions. I pulled over next to a field adjacent to an unincorporated subdivision and eventually found the men launching the works. Jim, he said, and his son Tommy were putting on the annual show for their neighbors using pieces they had picked up on a trip down to a plant in Kentucky. The show was phenomenal. The father and son team made a profound statement about the purity and simplicity of the medium. Working with a basic dual launcher, the pair found the essence of the display, stripping it to its essentials, letting each firework stand on its own. Allowed its solitary moment to shine, each piece demonstrated its innate beauty, blossomed, and then faded to ephemera. I wept openly at the finale. A successive launch of 3 pairs of queen bees, followed by a 2-phase golden rocket. Its shimmering embers warmed my heart as I made my way home through dozens of inferior displays and booming M80s. Day after Independence Day fireworks, July 5th, 8:45 p.m., Park District, Rockville. Among the towns forced to move their fireworks away from bigger events is tiny Rockville. Shows in neighboring Howtown on the 3rd and the La Plage on the 4th have meant low turnouts in recent years, so Rockville's Park District decided to give the 5th a try. The gamble appeared to pay off, as the baseball fields were quilted with the blankets and lawn chairs of young families enjoying the cool evening. The concession stand ran out of lemonade and hot dogs by 8:15 and had to send out for reinforcements. Judging by Rockville's success, expect more 5th of July fireworks from smaller communities next year. The show itself was modest but well done. Good pacing, a few surprises interspersed throughout, including a delightful pink fairy in the first movement and a riot of cherry blossom rockets as sort of a mini finale in the second. The finale itself was short but solid, culminating with a tasteful white carnation, blue starburst, China Imperial medley that Deerwood Heights would do well to take note of. Musical accompaniment from the low-power station WREM AM was a nice touch. See you next year. We'll now take a short break. About 10 minutes. Please refresh your drinks. Feel free to talk about what you've heard, and we'll see you soon.